Hiya, my name's Leonie and we're going to do some backgrounds now with distress inks. Now there's a few different ways you can use your distress inks for backgrounds. We're going to be using them with salt. We're also going to be using them with just beautiful blending but adding water to them. We're going to be doing some ironing, the only time ironing is good, and then we're going to be doing some blending but then drying it with our heat gun. So do stay tuned, pick your distress inks and let's have some fun. Okay, so first of all what we're going to do is take our cardstock. I'm just using small bits of card just for demonstration purposes, and I've picked two of my distress inks. I'm going to use the Dusty Concord and the Broken China. I'm going to use these two ink pads for all the different techniques so you can see the variations. Now the first one we're going to do is just blending. So what we do is take our ink pads. I'll use my cut and dry for this one. It's up to you, you can use your cut and dry or you can use your applicator. With your cut and dry, what I'm going to do is pick up part of the ink on half of my sponge and then just blend it in. So again, nice gentle blending. You're taking it from the outside and working the ink into your cardstock so you get that really nice faded look. So just bringing that in. And then we'll move over to the Dusty Concord, and I'm going to use the other half of my sponge there, so I'm only picking up half of the ink on the sponge and then working exactly the same way, so just bringing that in from the side. And I love how the two colours will blend perfectly in the centre. So it does mean you can have a play with your different colour tones and achieve different effects. Now this gives you that really nice soft look. If you do want to make it stronger, you can always do your direct to paper with your ink pads. And of course you can still keep adding your colour tones, so you can keep blending those in. Now that gives you a really nice soft finish, so it gives you a really nice soft blend. However, because these react with water, I'm just going to take my spritzer, so it's just a normal spritzer, just normal water. One side, literally just spritz, and you can see straight away the ink starts to move. Now you can either do it that way, or you can actually open your spritzer, get a bottle of water, and literally just splash onto the cardstock, and your bigger drips, you'll see the bigger drips come through the ink. It almost looks like you're putting bleach onto your card, but it is just water, and that's because the ink reacts straight away with the water, and that makes a brilliant background effect. If you want to speed up the drying, you can of course bring your heat gun in. Obviously it looks just as good if you let it dry naturally, but you'll be able to see there, just drying it off. We can also just towel a bit off any excess water, towel that off, and you've got that beautiful look there. So again, you can completely change the look. Now that's just using regular water with your spritzing. The next technique we'll do, again we're sticking to our two ink pads. This time we'll do the blending again, but this time we're going to add loads of water, so we're really going to drench it through. Now you can do this quite a few ways. You don't have to blend. If you want, you can do your direct to paper, which again gives you a really strong look. And the way you do that, you literally just take your ink pad and go over the cardstock, and look how intense that ink is. I'll just blend this in though this time, so it's a quick way of applying your cardstock. It depends on your card how you what kind of look you're going to get, so please make sure you have an experiment with your card. Find a nice card, because you do want it to blend properly. You'll find if your inks aren't blending properly, it might be your cardstock, it might not be you, it might be a cardstock. So there are times we can definitely blame our tools if it's not working. Okay, so again we've got that beautiful blended background. This time I'm going to absolutely drench it with water, and again you can see that ink start to move straight away. Now you can leave that to dry naturally. If you leave it to dry naturally, you'll be able to see all the ink pools, and it gives a really nice soft tone. However, if you dry it with your heat gun, you'll be able to force the ink to move and to dry, and as it dries and forces to dry, it'll actually create like veins of colour in your work. So just start chasing that ink and forcing it to dry on your cardstock. It's a little bit hot, so I'm watching my fingers. And just until you're ready, until you're happy with it. And every single time you do this, it'll be different. There we go. I'm happy with that, so I'm just going to blot off the excess. So again, just using my tissue, just blot off any excess. And that again will give you a completely different look. Look how strong that is with the colours, and then that beautiful blend going through. And the third one we're going to do is actually another direct to paper. We'll start with the lighter colour first. Try and do it that way, because obviously you don't want to muck up your ink pads. and you're just literally dragging that ink onto your cardstock. So you're really flooding the card with the ink. And then what we're going to do again is absolutely cover it with water. So we're using the same colours, we're keeping to those same colours. So again, absolutely flood it with water. Your ink will react straight away, and what you're going to do this time is just take salt. Just regular salt, and just drop your salt on there. And what happens, the salt actually seeps up all that ink, so you'll be able to see where the salt is actually on the cardstock. This is one I prepared earlier in true Blue Peter fashion, and you'll be able to see all the ink there has actually been seeped up, so it makes a beautiful pattern. And what I love about it, when it hits the light, the salt granules, because I left this overnight, the salt granules have almost left like a glittery finish. It looks really pretty. So again, that makes a fantastic effect. Just leave it to dry. I've left it overnight. As long as it takes, and the other beautiful thing about it, you then get some really pretty salt colours. So you can even use your salt as embellishments, because they'll pick up all the colour of the ink. So you'll be able to use them later on. So obviously not on your chips, but you'll be able to use them for your crafting. So that's the third one. That's using our salt. The last one we're going to do is get out the iron. And again, I'm not into ironing, but this is a good technique. Now take your piece of card. I'll just rip this down so we're not using a big piece of card. And what you want to do is really scrunch your card up. So great if you're in a bad mood. Really scrunch it up so you've got loads of lines. Don't be shy. You know, really get loads of crease marks in it, because you do want loads of movements in this. And you'll take this, and then when you're happy with it, and this is a heavyweight cardstock, you know, you don't have to use paper for this. Card's probably better because you don't, it doesn't tear, but to be honest, because you're getting a distressed look, even if you end up with it torn, it looks pretty good. Now take your ink again. This time, what you're going to do, you're going to drag your ink over the surface, and it will just hit those top pieces of your cardstock where you've done the, oh, I've got ink all over me, where you've done your scrunching. So I'm taking the blue and then the purple again, and then spritzing. So this is all to do with water, because the water breaks that ink and allows the movement. And this is why distress is so cool, because you can create such movement with the ink. Now you can see there, all the ink started to move. Take your iron. I've actually treated myself to a really cheap iron, but I just use this for crafting now, because I must admit I used to use my regular iron and it's rubbish for white blouses. So you just take your iron and put it directly on. I haven't obviously got it on steam, so it's really allowing it to dry. And I love the way that it creates all the different channels. There we go. Now have a look at this. Because what it's done, it's flattened it so you can stamp on it, but the ink has forced it to dry, so you've got that really nice shaded effect. Every single one of these is suitable for stamping on. So now with our backgrounds, I'll show you. What I'll do is take one of my word stamps and use your Dusty Concord. Use one of the inks that you've already used to create your background effects. Obviously you can mix and match, but that will give you that perfect blend. So I'm just going to take my stamp over the top of this crinkled one, and you can see how it gives you that really nice effect. So that's over the crinkled one, so that makes a perfect background. Bring in the one that we've forced to dry. So this is the one where you've got those beautiful veins of colour. Again, stamping with that gorgeous purple. And do check these out on the website. We've got all the different colours of your distress inks. So again, you've got that wonderful colour tone there. We've also got on the website one of my favourite stamp sets from Tim Holtz, because it's got loads of different words on it, loads of different expressions. So that is definitely one to check out. And with this one, we're going to go at the bottom, because obviously at the bottom it's a little bit lighter. Missed a bit of word there, but to be honest, that doesn't matter. If you do something like this, if you miss your words, just re-stamp it again on a separate piece of paper. Put that over the top and it'll look like an effect. So it'll look like you were meant to have done that. And then last but not least, we have the one that we've actually done the water effect. So we're going to stamp over the top of that. And you can see how it makes a beautiful background on every single one. So whatever your background is, whether you're using your water, whether you're using your salt, whether you're forcing it to dry, or whether you're scrunching it, you'll get some beautiful effects with your distress inks. All you need to do is choose your colours, choose your stamps, and then have a really good time playing with your new purchases.